Hello everyone, welcome to Nelson School online education program, Learning System, grade 7 and subject English grammar. So in today's session, our session will be about clauses. In the previous sessions we have done phrases, so today we'll be doing clauses. So what is a clause? First we'll clear the meaning. A clause is a group of words that forms a part of a sentence and has a subject, a finite verb of its own. A clause has only one finite verb. A clause may function as an adjective, an adverb, or a noun. A clause contrasts with a phrase, means whatever phrase it is a opposite of a phrase which does not contain a subject and a verb. Phrase will not have a subject and a verb, whereas a clause will have its own subject and will have it the verb, a finite verb. A clause functions as a member of a complex or a compound sentence. There's a difference you can see over here between a phrase, clause, and a sentence. So a phrase is a meaningful group of words. A clause is a meaningful group of words, and again a sentence is also a meaningful group of words. But a phrase will not make a complete sense. Number 2, a phrase has no subject or predicate. A clause will have a subject and a predicate, and again a sentence is also have a subject and a predicate. Phrase, it has no finite verb. If it wants, phrase could have, if in some cases a phrase could have a non-finite verb, but a phrase would never have a finite verb. But clauses will be, in clauses it has at least one finite verb. In sentence it has at least one finite verb. Then a phrase does not make a complete sense by itself. A phrase will never make a complete sense by itself, and on the contrary, it needs something to complete its meaning. And a clause may stand on its own or may not sometimes. The clause that stands on its own is known as an independent clause, and a clause that cannot stand on its own is known as a dependent clause. If it does not, it must be a part of a longer sentence made up of two or more clauses. A sentence can always stand on its own and expresses the complete thought. There are two main types of clauses, that are the main or the principal clause, and the other one is a dependent or the subordinate clause. Okay, so the principal clauses are the clauses that can stand on their own, and the subordinate clauses are the clauses that cannot stand on their own, and rather they need someone or something to complete their meaning. Now subordinate clauses can be categorized into three forms, that is adjective clause, adverb clause, and a noun clause. Now, what is an independent clause? As I've told you, an independent clause functions on its own to make a meaningful sentence and looks much like a regular sentence. I picked a flower for you. My mom is nice. The women sang. I want to buy a phone, but I don't have enough money. He went to London and visited the Lords. So these are the statements that don't need any other things or any other statements or phrases to complete the meaning, rather they make meaning on their own. So these are the clauses that are called independent clauses, or the main clauses, or the principal clauses. Now, what is a dependent clause? A dependent clause cannot function on its own, as it leaves an idea or thought unfinished. It is also called a dependent or a subordinate clause. So a dependent clause cannot function on its own, and rather it needs some other phrases or a group of words to complete its meaning. So it is called dependent because it is dependent on some other clause to complete its meaning. So it is called a subordinate clause or the dependent clause. Dependent clauses help the independent clauses to complete the sentence. A dependent clause alone cannot form a complete sentence. It cannot work alone anytime. You can see some examples over here. She baked a cake which everybody liked. Now she baked a cake and which everybody liked. Now she baked a cake makes meaning. So principal clause. Now which everybody liked is subordinate clause. It doesn't mean which everybody likes. So what everybody liked. Catch the ball makes the meaning. When I throw what? I asked him what he saw. Next is father found the pen that I was looking for. So father found the pen makes the sense. That I was looking for doesn't make the sense. So this is a subordinate clause, and father found the pen is a independent clause. Neeta is writing a play. It makes a meaning, so it's a principal clause, or you can say independent clause. Has a tragic end. That doesn't make a complete sense, so it is a subordinate clause. Now next, There are three types of subordinate clauses, as I've told you: noun clause, adjective clause, and adverb clause. We'll first begin with adjective clause. A clause that functions like an adjective in a sentence is called an adjective clause, because that on the definition itself suggests that a clause that performs the action of an adjective, okay, which modifies a noun or pronoun, is called an adjective clause. It works like an adjective. It would have a noun, because its adjective is a very best friend of a noun, so it would have a noun. For defining, use no comma, and for modifying, use comma. So for modifying, we have to use a comma because it is to modifying a noun, okay, and for defining, we use no comma. Now, adjective clauses begin with relative pronouns including who, that, which, and can also work as conjunction, that is a subject. These are the three things: who, that, and which can be used when the subject is given, and they may also begin with relative adverbs such as when, where, why, whom, whose. So these all can be used when there is an object. Okay, these all are used as an object when we are stressing upon an object, and this all are used when you're talking about a subject. So when you talk about a subject, you will use who, that, which, and when you talk about an object, you will use when, where, my, whom. When you're talking about showing the possession, you will use whose. An adjective clause performs the function of an adjective and describes a noun or a pronoun, as I've already told you. It usually answers the question which one. Number one, for examples, when we see those people whose names are on the list will go to camp. So which people will go? Whose names are on the list. Okay, this is an adjective clause. Grandpa remembers the old days when there was no television. So it is grandpa remembers which days? When there was no television. Fruit that is grown organically is expensive. Which fruit is expensive? That is grown organically. Students who are intelligent get good grades. Which students get good grades? Who are intelligent. Now next, an adjective clause should be placed as close as possible to the noun or pronoun it describes. Ideally read next to it. For example, there is the mountain that we are going to climb. You are going to climb the mountain. So it's the noun, and beside that we are going to climb. So you can say the mountain. That it also works as an antecedent, what we have taught you in the relative pronouns. My blue tennis shoes, which are used by my mom, were under the bed. So which shoes were on the bed? My blue tennis shoes, which are used by my mom. Daniel, who was late again today, sits next to me in English class. So I'm talking about a Daniel as an antecedent. Who was late again today sits next to me in English class. Or next, an adjective clause, a person begins with words who, whom, or whose. These words refer to the person in the main clauses. They are used for the persons only, but who is used when you're talking about the subject, whom is used when you're talking about the object, and whose is used when you're talking about the possession. So these words refer to the person in the main clause. The smart teenager whose parents are my neighbors were there in the prestigious college. So it is the smart, where I'm talking about the smart teenager whose parents are my neighbors. I have a friend who works in Germany. I have a friend, my friend who works in Germany, Then the author whom I adored is no more. So here I am talking about the author whom you adore it. So it is I adore the author, he is no more. So you can write the author whom, because now author is the object and I is the subject. You are adoring it. So when object is used, we'll use whom. So it is the author whom I adored is no more. The musician who wrote this song is Canadian. So now the musician stands as a subject. So I'll be using who. So I'm talking about the subject musician. The man whose daughter won the tournament is a tennis coach. So I'm talking about the man's daughter won the tournament. So I'm showing the position. So I'll write the man whose daughter won the tournament, okay, is a tennis coach. Now option D, an adjective clause about animal or things begins with that of which you can use, okay. Whose, because when you're using again in animals also, when you show the possession, you'll be using whose. So these words refer to the animals or things in the main clause. For example, pizza, which most people love, is not very healthy. So what is not very healthy? The pizza which most people love. The dog that I brought home from the pond was soon fast asleep. So the dog, who brought it? That I brought home from the pond. This much is the adjective clause. They used car which my dad bought last week. They used which car? That your, you can even use that here because that is also used with things and the person, and which is used with the things and the animals. So they used the car which my dad bought last week, broke down yesterday. Then the reason the Penelope failed the test is that she didn't study. So the reason, we are talking about the reason. What was the reason that Penelope failed the test? Is that she didn't study. So why did she fail the test? Because she didn't study. Very occasionally an adjective clause may also be introduced by the words where, when and why. It's in a very rare case, but usually it could be. So these words refer to a place, time or a reason in the main clause. Example, do you know the time when the meeting begins? Ram visited the place where he first met his friend. That is the reason why she does not want to come here. The time will come when you feel sorry for the things you have done. So in all the four statements you can see, they ask the place, the time and the reason. So do you know the time? Time means when. So when the meeting begins. Ram visited the place, which place or where? So where he first met his friend. That is the reason. What is the reason? Why? Because for reasoning we use why. So why she does not want to come here. The time will come, again when we are talking about the time, we'll use the word when you feel sorry for the things you have done. Now next, you can reduce adjective clauses to phrases when the statement is too long. So it is an adjective clause that has a subject, pronoun, which, that or who can also be shortened into an adjective phrase. You can shorten an adjective clause in two ways. Omit the subject, pronoun and verb because the phrase will not have the pronoun or subject and a verb. Omit the subject pronoun and change the verb so it ends in in or ing. Now why you're making this? Because you're changing the finite verb into a non-finite verb. Because a phrase can have a non-finite verb, but a phrase will never have a finite verb. So very first thing we have to do is to remove the subject because a phrase never contains the subject. Next thing you have to change the verb, that is in finite verb, you have to change it into a non-finite verb so that it ends in ing. It automatically turns up into a non-finite verb. Now next is examples. The books that were borrowed from class must be returned. Okay, so this is a clause. The books. Which books? That were borrowed from the class. So you can write the books borrowed from the class must be returned. Okay, so you can remove that so it becomes a adjective phrase. The girl who is leading in the parade is my best friend. So now who, if I am going to remove, is then leading because it's already ending in ing. So it is the girl leading in the parade is my best friend. His share of the money, which consisted of $1 lakh, was given to him on Monday. Which consisted. Now this the money is an antecedent and which consisted is the adjective clause. Now if you want adjective phrase, so remove this, okay, and just change the verb into ing, that is consisting. So it will become his share of the money consisting of $1 lakh was given to him on Monday. Something that smells bad may be rotten. So something we are talking about.